name is Shane Bettenhausen. I'm the Director of New Business Development at Ignition Entertainment, and Nostalgia is an original DS RPG, and it's a collaboration between three different companies, Tecmo, Red Entertainment, and Matrix, and they are the programmers of Final Fantasy 3 and 4 for the DS. And it's kind of a throwback to classic RPGs of yesteryear. It reminds me a lot of Super Nintendo RPGs, but with a modern take, new graphics, and it's a whole new story.
What sets it apart from a typical, old school Final Fantasy game?
Well, first off, I think the setting is very unique. It's set in real-world Earth at the turn of the 19th century, which is very unique, because you start out in London, you're a little boy named Eddie, whose dad is kind of this Indiana Jones-style adventurer who's gone missing. So you kind of hijack his airship to go rescue him, and along the way you meet a bunch of other kids who are looking for adventure, and you travel to all these real cities like Moscow, Tokyo, St. Petersburg, New York, and see all these great landmarks. And it's kind of a fun steampunk Japanese version of American history, so the setting is just totally unique.
And how many playable characters are there?
Well, the central cast is 4 characters. A few other people do join your party off and on, but it was a decision they made on purpose to really characterize these guys, to make you really care and love these guys, and by the end of the game, you feel a real attachment to the characters.
And tell us a little bit about the fighting. Is it typical, turn-based fighting?
It is a turn-based fighting system. So when your party is going through a dungeon, it's a traditional Final Fantasy. You're picking your attacks, casting spells, stealing, dodging, running. But when you're in your airship, it's a completely different battle system. It's much more tactical. It kind of draws from Skies of Arcadia a little bit. Like your position with your enemies matters. What character you have equipped to which weapon matters. So it's a very different battle system. And you actually spend a lot of time in your airship. Whenever you're flying from place to place on the world map, you're always in the airship. You never walk around. The airship is almost a character itself, because you get to upgrade it, outfit it with different weapons, customize how it looks. You get to, it has its own skill tree where you actually figure out what different abilities it's going to have. So it's almost like a 5th character.
And the title of the game is Nostalgia. Did that refer to the fact that it looks kind of like a throwback, or is it because of a story element in the game?
It's a little bit of both. So the director of this game at Red, he purposely made a game that felt like the RPGs that I grew up with back in the day, because he feels like modern day is kind of in a post-Final Fantasy VII world. Too many RPGs are really dark and dreary and depressing with these emo characters, and he wanted a game that was full of the spirit of adventure, kind of lighthearted, leaves you feeling good. He also wanted a game that little kids could play, but adults who were into RPGs back in the 80s could also play. So there's a lot of balancing. At the beginning, the game's quite easy, but once you get into it, all these optional subsystems start opening up, and if you want to go really, really deep in the game, there's tons of stuff to find.
About how long is the game?
I'd say if you just stick to the straight path, just follow the story, it's probably about 30 to 40 hours. But if you want to get everything, it's closer to 70 or 80. In fact, maybe even up to 100 if you really want to get everything.
And what is your favorite thing about the game?
Wow, I would say my favorite thing is just the overall sense of adventure and the tone of the game, the story, the characters, the mood, the themes. It really takes me back to the games I used to play. It reminds me of games like Lunar, Chrono Trigger. Modern RPGs have gotten kind of dark and scary, and this one kind of reminds me of being a kid again.
Well, thank you.
Shine as and trolls, cycle from Elder into the darkest, even the light.